In 1873, Emma Richter vanished without a trace, only to return unchanged, her eyes holding centuries of forbidden knowledge. Towns whispered of the child of the hollow, a girl who saw what no one else could, uncovered secrets long buried, and carried the weight of horrors humanity was never meant to remember. In the fading light of 1873, in a quiet Pennsylvania town blanketed by frost, a girl named Emma Richter vanished. No footprints, no witnesses, just the echo of her final piercing scream through the brittle winter air. The townspeople whispered of unnatural happenings, a curse too old to name. What makes this disappearance remarkable is not the vanishing itself. It's what the doctors, priests, and magistrates could not explain. Emma's body, when found weeks later, was unchanged. No growth, no aging, her eyes wide with an ancient knowledge that terrified those who dared to look. Local folklore called her the child of the hollow, a name meant to hush curiosity and instill fear. But beneath these whispered tales lay a darker truth. The town itself had a history, hidden, obscured, deliberately forgotten. And Emma's arrival would unravel it. Emma Richter appeared in the Richter family home as if summoned by some unseen hand. She was found on a doorstep during a storm, soaked and shivering, her eyes reflecting a depth beyond her years. No note, no hint of her origin. The family, devout in Lutheran practice, hesitated, first with suspicion, then awe. Parishioners noted a strange aura around her, a quiet gravity that bent attention like light through a prism. Mothers whispered, "The girl sees too much." Schoolchildren recoiled, unnerved by her knowledge of their secrets. Emma's intelligence was unmatched, but it was the unnatural serenity in her gaze, the way she watched a fire burn or rain fall, that unsettled adults. It was as if she carried memories of centuries she had never lived. Dr. Wilhelm Strauss, the town's physician, documented Emma with the meticulous precision of one afraid to overlook something extraordinary. Her pulse was steady, yet he noted a faint luminescence beneath the skin. Teeth perfectly formed, yet aged oddly. Her hair seemed to shimmer in patterns no human follicle should. Science could not classify her. "She is not wholly of this world," he confessed to his journals, but fear silenced him from sharing aloud. His assistant disappeared shortly after, leaving cryptic notes about voices beneath the floorboards and eyes in the shadows. Emma spent part of her childhood at the town orphanage, where she witnessed things others never could. Children whispered of spectral figures in the hallways and sudden screams from locked rooms. Staff members claimed the girl spoke to them of events they never told anyone. One night, a caretaker, Mrs. Calhoun, swore she saw Emma sitting beside an empty crib, murmuring in a language no one recognized. When questioned, Emma only smiled faintly, tilting her head as if considering the futility of words. That night, the orphanage's archives burned mysteriously, erasing records of children who had vanished decades before. The local church was more than a place of worship. It was a repository of secrets. Emma spent hours in the dim light of stained glass windows, repeating prayers with unfamiliar syllables. The pastor, Father Livingston, began to note discrepancies between her words and scripture. There were invocations older than the town itself, embedded with warnings and promises no human soul should utter. Villagers avoided the pew she frequented, claiming a chill lingered long after she left. The Richter family discovered letters Emma had written, pages filled with sketches of impossible architectures, diagrams of unseen organs, and notes of events yet to occur. When delivered to intended recipients, the letters returned unopened, bearing the same handwriting unchanged despite weeks passing. It was as if time itself refused to acknowledge her words. Some letters referenced names from distant towns, people who had never existed. Yet Emma recited them with accuracy, unsettling visiting clergy and magistrates alike. The townsfolk began to notice anomalies, animals behaving oddly, sudden fogs rolling in even during dry spells, fires starting and extinguishing without cause. Children claimed Emma walked into walls, disappearing for moments before reappearing. Adults murmured of a curse but did not speak openly, for fear of what the church might decree. Stories from older residents hinted at the Hollow, a place beneath the town where shadows moved with purpose and whispered of terrible deeds long buried. Emma attended a nearby seminary, under the guise of education. Scholars noted her extraordinary aptitude but were unsettled by her questions. She inquired about forbidden texts, ancient rites, and rituals considered heretical. When confronted, she revealed knowledge of events long erased from history: the burning of women in secret trials, the silencing of families, and the exploitation of children in hidden chambers beneath the church. Professors grew wary. One vanished overnight after claiming to have glimpsed what hides under the chapel. Emma reported dreams that were more than dreams. She described entire towns consumed by fog, cries of children echoing through corridors that did not exist. Local children began to mimic her visions, claiming to see the eyes beneath the floorboards. Some woke screaming, their voices echoing down empty streets. Adults dismissed it as hysteria, unaware that Emma's visions were recordings of memories the town had tried to forget. In 1883, a young boy from the Richter household disappeared. Only Emma claimed to know his whereabouts, tracing his last steps with unnerving precision. When authorities investigated, they found remnants of old ritualistic markings in the woods, the same markings Emma had drawn in her notebooks years prior. No body was ever found, but the town whispered that the child had been taken to the Hollow, a place where Emma alone could traverse. Renovations in the Richter home revealed cryptic symbols etched into hidden walls. They matched those in Emma's drawings, yet scholars could not decode them. When asked, Emma refused to explain, simply stating, "They remember me." Her cryptic phrasing left the family terrified, and visitors reported an unnatural cold that followed them home after brief exposure to the house. One winter morning, the church bell refused to ring. Emma sat beneath it, eyes closed, whispering words that twisted the air. When the parishioners entered, the bell had fractured into unexplainable shards, each resonating with a sound that echoed not only through the ears, but through memory itself. Father Livingston fainted, claiming he had heard the past screaming. Letters began to appear in the town's post office addressed to Emma, written in faded ink, bearing dates decades in the past. Recipients who opened them reported hallucinations, glimpses of Emma standing in places that should not exist, with her gaze fixed on them across time. Scholars called it an early form of mass hysteria, but Emma only smiled, calm and unreadable. Old records surfaced showing previous children labeled anomalous by the town's authorities, remarkable intellects, violent tendencies, or prophetic visions. All had disappeared or died under mysterious circumstances. Emma's presence seemed to catalyze this pattern, connecting her to generations of suppressed knowledge and institutional malfeasance. One autumn evening, fog rolled into the town, thick and suffocating. Voices whispered from unseen corners, calling the names of children long gone. Emma wandered the streets alone, murmuring incantations that seemed to hold the fog at bay. Witnesses claimed to see figures inside the mist, hollow eyes staring, following, waiting. That night, 3 townsfolk vanished, leaving only footprints that led into the fog and never returned. Emma's reflections sometimes failed to match her actions. People reported seeing her glance sideways in mirrors while her body faced forward. In these moments, she appeared older, wiser, burdened by knowledge no child should hold. One guest fainted after claiming she whispered his deepest sins, secrets he had never shared. Emma discovered a hidden library beneath the seminary, filled with texts older than America itself. She read aloud, translating languages scholars could not understand. Words caused unease, nausea, and terror. Those who listened too long reported visions of events that never were, of children raised in darkness, of churches that existed only in nightmares. Figures long erased from history appeared in Emma's visions and dreams. Orphaned children, monks, and townsfolk who had vanished. Emma spoke of their suffering, their silenced voices, and the role the town had played in erasing them. Her revelations terrified elders, forcing confessions of decades-old crimes previously hidden behind respectability. The Richter family, under the weight of Emma's presence, began to fracture. Siblings argued over moral culpability, parents feared divine punishment, and distant relatives cut ties. Emma remained serene, her gaze distant, aware of forces moving through her that no one else could perceive. Buildings caught fire spontaneously in the dead of night. Witnesses swore flames formed human shapes, wailing. Emma would arrive as if drawn by the fire, and leave moments before it vanished without trace. Investigators documented char patterns forming symbols identical to her sketches. The seminary itself was consumed by a fire that spared no one inside. Emma was seen walking through the flames unharmed, carrying children out one by one. Local authorities claimed no such rescue occurred, yet witnesses described it vividly. Official records of the seminary's destruction were sanitized, leaving gaps decades later. A hidden door in the Richter home led to a subterranean passage, the hollow, where whispers and shadows dwelled. Emma descended nightly. Neighbors reported hearing children crying, chanting, and footsteps that defied physics. When investigated, authorities found only silence and a faint smell of decay. Emma aged not according to the calendar, but according to cycles of human suffering. Her body would remain young while her mind seemed ancient. Those who interacted closely reported temporary madness, insomnia, paranoia, and visions of events that should not have existed. Those who sought to study Emma disappeared. Some left notes hinting at revelations too terrible to bear. Others returned, catatonic, muttering about the girl who remembers everything. The town, terrified, began to isolate the Richter family, labeling Emma a menace. The church convened a secret council to confront Emma. They attempted to force her into obedience through ritual and prayer. Emma listened quietly, eyes unmoved, then recited truths about the church's past. Murders, disappearances, and abuses never acknowledged. Clergy fainted or fled. Emma wandered through the town in silence. Those she passed recalled events differently, as if memories had been rewritten. Children remembered parents who never existed. Adults forgot siblings, entire streets appeared and vanished. Emma's presence seemed to bend reality itself, revealing the fragility of human memory. Emma's letters became tools of prophecy and warning. Scholars who attempted to decode them vanished or were found dead, marked by symbols matching her earliest drawings. Rumors circulated that she communicated with those long dead, and with those yet to be born. Emma finally revealed the hollow to her family, speaking of its purpose, a place where forgotten knowledge and trauma were stored, a living memory of the town's sins. She explained that she could navigate its corridors because she carried the weight of every suppressed voice. The family recoiled in terror. In 1893, Emma vanished as mysteriously as she had appeared. Footprints led to the hollow and stopped. Locals whispered she had merged with the shadows, becoming a guardian of the forgotten. Decades later, those who explored the Richter home reported seeing her in mirrors. Across streets, even in dreams, Emma Richter became legend. A cautionary tale of knowledge too vast for human minds, a child who carried the sins of generations. Her story reminds us that hidden truths, institutional corruption, and ancient trauma endure, waiting for the one who can see, remember, and bear it. Science could not explain her. History tried to forget her, but the hollow never sleeps.